Why should we hire you when we have applicants with more experience or better credentials?
Why should you hire me when you have applicants with more experience and better credentials? That's a great question. Um, I would say that there are a couple of qualities, characteristics that I have that would make me a great choice for this position, despite not having maybe as much experience and as impressive credentials as others. One of those would be that I am adaptable, so very flexible. I am the person that will say yes to just about anything in order to gain experience from that yes that I give. I am also a learner. I love to learn and I love the challenges that come with learning new things. So, speaking of my characteristics, I would say that those are assets that would make it worthwhile to consider me. Um, I have on several different occasions taken positions that I had less experience that others might have for. I did mention that I like to say yes. In one of my previous positions as a teacher in a school, I would say that particular position, I only got it after someone with more experience backed out at the last minute. It was teaching pre kindergarten at a private school, and I got the position about 3 days before school started. I got a little box with just a couple of office supplies in it, and that it turned into a 12-year career where I was only one of two teachers who was ever permitted to teach a graded class without being fully certified. I would also say that in most of my positions, I went in with less experience than some of the other candidates. As a student success facilitator for a local middle school, I had no experience in truancy. I had student experience, but no experience in truancy and assisting with issues regarding student attendance and progress in that area. And within the 2 years I was there, I led our middle school in being the leader in attendance. We did take the most truancy cases to court, which in and of itself is not something that I'm proud of, that we took more students to court. But the results from those court cases were often improved attendance and improved progress in those students' individual lives. So, with no experience, I managed to do two great things, or to do things that I feel were worthwhile. I would definitely say that while I respect experience and I respect credentials, oftentimes it's the hunger that you have to do well, to succeed, that can set you above and beyond others who may take for granted because they do have the experience and the credentials as well. And while I don't necessarily have the experience for this particular position in management and upper level management, I have managed a team before in the same field, and I have got lots of experience or years of experience in higher education. And I think that this is just the next step. And I would be excited to see how far we could go together.
Okay, and how do you think that you can contribute to this company?
How do I think I contribute or can contribute to this company? I would say that I think the biggest contribution that I could make to this company is probably perspective, a professional perspective and a personal perspective. Profession wise, I have worked in community college, I've worked in university, and I've worked in technical college setting. I've worked in a traditional semester setting and one that is more performance based, where there's multiple entry and exits. I have worked in a siloed school where we were by department: records, admissions, student services. I've worked in schools where we were more of a one-stop shop, where our service to our students was comprehensive. And in that, I had to learn financial aid, advising, admissions, records, all of those things, support services. So it gives me a unique perspective to the student experience. As a parent, I've recently seen 2 children through college, and I've worked with them through their financial aid and through the process of helping them to successfully complete their education. And that gives me the perspective as a parent. As a student, I've been a traditional student right out of high school. I've been a non-traditional student as I've worked over the last 20 years to complete my associate's and bachelor's degree. I've been a face-to-face student. I've been an online student. So I have a unique perspective as a student. Professionally, I also have a kind of overall understanding of the process of a student going from grade school, where I taught kindergarten, to graduating from college. I can remember the first time I sent an admission letter to a student that I had taught pre-K to. So walking with students through that journey, I believe, gives me a unique perspective, a very thorough understanding of what the student experiences, and I believe that's my biggest contribution. My second would be that I am a good communicator, and along with that, I absolutely relish the opportunity to collaborate across departments. I love working and building relationships with other departments and finding ways to strengthen the work that we all do together as we work to serve students.
Okay, and tell me about a time when you solved a difficult problem.
Tell you a time that I solved a difficult problem. Problems can be difficult for a multitude of reasons. They can be difficult when you're dealing with personalities and different types of personalities within a group working together, or they can be difficult when they're process problems that can cause issues that later on can grow and cause issues for your institution. So where I currently work, we are one campus. We're 10 campuses spread across the state. And there was a time about 5 years ago where each campus functioned individually on its own. At that time, 5 years ago, we collaborated to make all the campuses more cohesive in what they were doing for accreditation purposes. So it's been a process to watch the college unify the 10 campuses and make processes more unified according to policy. Within that, though, there are still times where campuses have to figure out what will work best for them and still maintain state policy or statewide policy. One of those areas would be in document retention, and that probably sounds like the most boring thing you can think of, document retention, what you do with your documents. But for accreditation purposes, improper documentation or improper document retention or storage of your documents can actually cost your institution quite a bit of money. It can also be an inconvenience for other reasons. The documents you have, you're responsible for, whether it be if there was a court case or information was needed for legal purposes. If you have them, you're responsible for them. So there's a lot of reasons why document retention is important. So while we had our statewide policy, the campus that I work at is a newer campus. We didn't have a local policy of making sure that we were in compliance with the statewide policy, and we didn't have our records office at our campus, which presented a problem. So when I took the position that I'm currently in, that was probably about the third or fourth thing that I put on my list to make sure that we did so that we would be in compliance. So I worked together with our registrar at one of our bigger campuses. I worked together with my supervisor to devise a plan that worked for our office. I put that plan in writing. I trained my staff. I worked with creative services to produce, which is our marketing committee, to produce some visuals that would make it easy for our team to understand, even if I was no longer in the position. And then we set that plan in action to make sure that we didn't have any issues with document retention, and we didn't cost our institution money. So that was a problem that I helped solve. And like I said, it's not a glamorous problem, but it definitely is a problem that I am proud of, as I know that when our office is a part of the auditing process, we will be in compliance with what we need to be in compliance with.